Welcome to Frickety Frack, We Do Talk Back. Thank you for joining me in this episode. My name is Patrick, and I'm Frack. Frickety Frack, We Do Talk Back is a show where I discuss different aspects of fandom and how they relate to the gospel. So we're going to be going through an episode of Naruto and connected to teachings from the Bible. The name of the show comes from my dad who dubbed my brother and me Frick and Frack since we were kids. So we're looking at the third episode of Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura. Friends or foes? So this episode starts with the recently graduated students of the Ninja Academy, their first day as Genin Ninja. We see Naruto and Sakura start their day, Naruto making his breakfast and Sakura primping in a mirror while arguing with her mother. We also get a check-in with Konohamaru and their continued rivalry between him and Naruto, and it's played up for comedic effect. And as the new Genin are waiting for their team assignments. Sakura and Ino's rivalry is displayed alongside every girl having a desire to be with Sasuke, and Sasuke is the cool, brooding, and prodigy of the current crop of newly graduated ninja. Naruto doesn't think he's anything special. Sasuke is not anything special, and glares at him and unfortunately, with the way Naruto sets up his glare with Sasuke, sparking a rivalry between the two of them, there is an unfortunate mishap where the two end up kissing, much to the chagrin of Sakura and the other girls in the class, except for Hinata. So they reveal the process on how the different teams are made, and the basing of the team makeup is based around balancing skills and scores. And so some are excited about their team assignments while others are not. For example, Naruto and Sasuke are paired together in their three-man team with Sakura because Sasuke had the highest scores in the class while Naruto had the lowest, and so that was to balance them out. And so we see all of these different pairings happen, and so like I said, some are excited about the different opportunities, others are not. So Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke they form Team Seven together, and as they start their first day together, having been received as a team, although they have not met their Jonin leader yet, they start to clash. Now, Naruto clashes with Sasuke because Naruto is upset that Sakura only pays attention to Sasuke. Sakura ends up having a problem with in this episode with Naruto and Sasuke. More Sasuke has a problem with Sakura, uh, and so they end up clashing and struggling. And I'll get more into that with the biblical lesson. But the humor of the episode. This is a very humorous episode. Naruto is the show is very it's very common for them to do this where they have um, humor spread throughout the series, and then they fix this all up with then they have their dramatic moments as well. So anyway, so this is very much a humorous episode, and it all centers around Naruto, who ends up tying up Sasuke, and then he masquerades as Sasuke to find out more about Sakura since she doesn't really give Naruto the time of day. He wants to know, like, what do you like about Naruto? What can Naruto do to make you like him? All those different kind of things that, you know, if you remember in grade school and things like that, we'd be like, hey, do you like me? Check yes or no. Of course, that's for people of my generation. I don't know that that really still happens today. And so his plan to do all this is foiled by the expired milk he drank that morning. So those are the things I kind of wanted to talk about in this episode. And so the biblical theme is Proverbs chapter 14, verse 29. Whoever is slow to anger has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. So I chose this verse because we get the first glimpse of Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke's personalities. Now, obviously in the coming episodes, it's going to be fleshed out more. More things are going to be explained, and so we get a taste of how they're going to treat one another. Now, Naruto is his continued knucklehead self. Sasuke is, he's that typical loner that you see in shonen anime. And Sakura is this lovesick character obsessed with Sasuke. She also represents the voice of the village and with their general disdain for Naruto for his pranks, the things that he does that, the village doesn't really care for. And so she spouts all of those things. And so like I said, so she's representing the voice of the village of the older generation and their dislike of Naruto. And so the three characters clash over their different ideologies and understanding of what it means to be alone. Sasuke, he keeps telling them like, just don't get in my way. Oh gosh, a part of a three-man team. They're gonna be in my way. They're gonna be a bother. And Naruto's like, well, I'm awesome. Why do I have to be stuck with this guy? He stinks. Except for Sasuke doesn't. And he's like, all I want is Naruto to like me, or Sakura to like me. And so they're clashing, and Sakura wants Sasuke to acknowledge her, and none of that is going to happen. And so when they start clashing, and one of the underlying themes in this episode so far is that Sakura has this kind of inner savage, you could say, that is very aggressive and a little bit different than Sakura is as speaking wise. And And so this inner person kind of spurs Sakura into making bad choices. And it's very clear that despite Sakura being relatively level headed, she has her triggers. And, and Naruto is one of them. Don't get me wrong, Naruto is a knucklehead. He does cause problems, he does do pranks. But she can't see past the bias from the older generation of the adults in the village. And so she's very quick to denigrate him, very quick to speak very ill of Naruto, and doesn't grasp that the fact that Naruto is alone and what that means until Sasuke points it out. And so for me, this lesson that we can take as Christians, as followers of Jesus Christ, is that any one of us can succumb to uh, denigrating other people really quickly. It can be very easy, especially if you get into like Reddit threads or the comment sections of the internet. I mean, there's been any number of articles that I have read online where in the comment section it eventually comes down to someone calling another person Hitler or a Nazi or something like that. Very quick to happen. And so there's quick anger. It's very easy to be vile towards another person on the internet because there's safety, because it's not like you're talking to them person to person and they're not there to physically defend themselves or anything like that. And so we have to think about this, that um, even on the internet when we're talking with other people, that we should not have hasty tempers, because unfortunately if we have these hasty tempers, they can prove us to be fools. And so if we're trying to change somebody's mind about the gospel, about knowing Jesus Christ, or and taking like sharing the gospel out of this, if you're trying to change someone else's mind about a political viewpoint or a way of life viewpoint, if all you're doing is screaming your head off, you're not going to be, it's going to make it much harder to change someone's mind from that point of view if you're screaming at them, if you're displaying a temper that is not uh, productive. And so if we don't flare our tempers, if we don't respond hastily, it won't harm the message that we're trying to give. And so for us as Christians, if we're sharing the gospel, let's not share the gospel out of anger and tempers flaring. So for my fellow Christians that are listening to this, let us remember to respond with grace and humility. And yes, even in the internet comment sections. So that's your challenge for the week. Like if you are a person who is constantly debating, look back to some of your posts. Are you being graceful? Are you offering peace in the comments that you're making, or are you letting your temper flare and be leading the charge? So let us take this week to uh, really look at what we are doing and saying. Amen. So how am I going to rate this episode? For me, this episode is a solid 4. We get some world building and the beginnings of who the main cast for the show is going to be. There's a lot of background characters, and there's a lot of characters that are just being seen for the very first time in this and really will only be seen during this episode. And so we don't, but we're seeing who the main focus of the show is going to be. Is going to be the relationship between Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke uh, initially, and then obviously there's going to be some more later on. But those are the three main characters, and so we get this. We get kind of some world building. We get to see ninja teams being formed. But really, the main focus of this episode really centers, unfortunately, around potty humor for me. So that's why it's not a perfect 5. It's a solid 4, and because it really potty humor doesn't really do anything for me, and I understand that this is for teenage boys. That's what's shown in anime and shown in manga is really geared towards. So I get that, but I'm just not a fan of potty humor, and especially this kind of potty humor. Like it just, I mean, where it's literally about the potty, and so it just, it just really kind of killed it for me. And so that's why it's. I mean, it's a good episode, but to be honest, a lot of the stuff that is going to happen in upcoming episodes is going to cover what happened in this episode. So you could really skip this one. So, like I said, solid 4. All right. So, anyone with questions for me about the biblical lessons that I talked about in this episode, or any other discussion ranging from anime, comics, or anything in general, feel free to email me at frickityfractalkback@gmail.com or reach out to me on Twitter at frickityf or at frickityfrac on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. I'm also on Blue Sky. So please rate, review, and subscribe. Remember that I love you. Most importantly, God loves you. And believe it.